Thank you guys for jumping on to Georgia Tech Volleyball's media availability before opening the 2022 NCAA tournament at Marquette. We'll begin with Wright State tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central. We have starting from your right to left, middle blocker Breland Morissette, outside hitter Julia Bergman, and setter Bella D'Amico. Please state your name and publication when you first ask a question, and please use the raise hand function. And from here, we'll open up for questions. Rod, go ahead.
Hey, this is Rod McKenzie with 247 Sports. Breland, I have a question for you. You made the decision to come back for the extra year, take advantage of the COVID year. What would you recommend to your fellow teammates, and how was that year for you?
This year for me was great. I just was really excited to be able to spend another year with the program and the girls in this team. And I just would recommend doing whatever they feel that they are ready for and they want to do. I wasn't ready to leave the program, so I was lucky that I had the opportunity to stay. But yeah, that's what I would say.
All right, Marcel.
All right, this is Marcel, to the Sports Acquirer. Can you hear me? All right, good. Well, this goes for Breland and Julie. Actually, all three of you. You can start just left to right. Being named All ACC, what about that honor as an individual and reaching that milestone in your career? Sorry, you, Breland, then Julia, then Bella. Yeah.
It was really exciting for me. I think it just speaks to how good our team is. And, one of us can't shine without the other. But it was one of my goals, my personal goals for the season. So I'm happy that was accomplished. But it wouldn't be possible without great passing for my team and great sets by this one. So, yeah.
Yeah, for me, I would say the same thing. You can never do it alone. You always, your teammates are always behind you. And like she said, without the starting pass, the set, you can have the point. And so I think it was really great team effort this year, and just for people to recognize how great our team is and how good the program has become.
Yeah, like they both said, I think it really shows how much of a team effort it is, especially that 5 of us got recognized this year. So I think that really shows like the work we put in practice every day, and all of us, it's like a team effort.
All right, Jack, go ahead.
Hey there, Jack Purdy with From the Rumble Seat. Do y'all have a barometer for what success will be for y'all personally throughout the tournament?
There
you
go. Barometer.
Julia.
Drew.
Repeat the question, Jack.
Yeah. Is there, I guess, what's the demarcation point of what you would call a successful NCAA tournament for y'all?
I mean, winning the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, it's a win.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
And just playing good volleyball. I feel like just showing how much the program has evolved in these past years.
Yeah, I think one of our goals is to just play really good volleyball and like fight and play with heart and leave it all on the court. And if we do that, I think we can be, I won't say happy with, but whatever comes from that, we'll know that we left it all and we gave it our all.
Yeah, I think we're just taking one game at a time. Like the tournament, it's a marathon really. So we got to focus on each game and do what we need to do.
Rod, go ahead.
Hey, Bill, I got a question for you. You replaced a sort of a fixture at the setter position. I know you got your feet wet a little bit last year. What has the progression been like for you this year, as far as how you worked with your fellow teammates?
Yeah, so I think I've been very fortunate to be surrounded by such amazing teammates and coaches. So they've made the transition easier for me, but there were definitely big shoes to fill. Maddie's such a great setter, great person, great player. And me and her are still very close. So I think she really helped me in my first 2 years here developing as a player. And that's what helped me take a role on the court this year.
Ken, go ahead.
Breland and Julie, I'm curious, how has this year, in terms of just how it's played out, matched up with your expectations for what you had going in?
Expectations. Sorry, you said how is this year matched up with our expectations?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Okay.
Correct.
I think going into this year was a new year, new team, so it's kind of hard to. We know we wanted to win the ACC and we wanted to make the tournament and make a long run in the tournament, but I would say that our my expectation going in was just to grow as a player and grow as a leader on the team. So I think that in that sense, I've met some of those expectations, but I really try to go in with like no true expectation of what a season will be and just give it my all and see where it takes us.
Yeah, same thing. We had a couple new players coming in, all the younger players also stepping up, having to fill in other roles that they maybe didn't have such a, I would say, they didn't do as much last season because they were still new, they were still learning, but I feel like everyone just grew so much as players and as leaders on the court. I mean, we always set high expectations for ourselves. And of course we put all our effort into it. Maybe we didn't reach it this time, but I'm sure, I mean, it's not over yet. We still have a lot of games to go. I mean, we have our first one tomorrow, so we'll focus on that first and then keep going and keep surviving in the tournament.
Go ahead, Rod.
I know you all would rather be playing in the friendly confines of O'Keefe, but what is it like for you guys to go on the road and have to play in a not really a hostile environment, but on a court where the team you're playing may have an advantage?
Go ahead.
Oh, you go first.
I'll say I think it's a good opportunity for us. Like, of course, we'd love to be at O'Keefe, but we're here and we have an opportunity to play against a great team. So I think it'll be really exciting and it'll be something different than our experience last year. So I think I'm excited for it.
Yeah, for sure. And the city here is pretty nice. I personally have never been up here. That was also something different, a different air, to change it up for the first game.
All right, Ken, go ahead.
I'm curious, I guess for Julia, does this year feel or has it felt different in terms of, the first couple years? I'm sure you were here, and maybe you felt like more you were aspiring and chasing, and now you're more being chased and having to defend a little more of what you are and what you have.
I mean, for sure, just playing here for 4 seasons, people know what your shots are. People know where you're going to swing, and they know that you're going to be set at certain moments. But I think it was just a great challenge for me personally, just having to elevate my game every time I step on the court, knowing that they're going to come after me. So I think it was a really challenging season, but a really good season to get more opportunities and to grow as a player, also having to find solutions that I usually didn't need to find.
Can you give an example of something like that? Sorry? Can you give an example of maybe a way you've had to develop your game, finding a solution that's really interesting?
I would say just having a double block in front of me the entire time. I mean, if it's the off pass, of course they know maybe the set is gonna be to the outside, and then just putting a double or triple block up there, and maybe I have to swing high. Usually I didn't used to do, or just trying to touch some hands and tooling the block.
Thank you.
Jack, go ahead.
Considering the last few games were against some really tough teams with Pitt and Louisville, for any of y'all, has there been any parts of your games that y'all have been trying to fine tune or get into better shape coming into that final stretch of games and then in the tournament as well?
I mean, definitely one important thing against those great teams is to have a good defense, put up a good block and a good defense. So that's always one thing that we try to get better every time. Just being able to touch balls and not only touch them, but also transform them into a point during the transition. And yeah, that's one thing we've been working on all season long. I wouldn't say only for those big games, but those are definitely the points of the game that you have to be good at if you're playing good teams.
One thing for me is trying to get our offense to be more spread out. Like Julia just said, like a lot of these teams are kind of scouting her. They're expecting the ball to go to her. So my job is to make sure that like they're on their toes and everybody's swinging. We're firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with Bella. I think something that we're trying to work on, especially when we play these bigger teams who are going to have Julia's number most of the time, is how can I like help take some of the offensive load and then play good defense.
Rod, go ahead.
Yeah, the last match against Florida State, coach did not go to the bench at all. She stayed with the starters, and you played all 3 sets. How did you all adjust to that, and what did you think of that?
I think that we were playing pretty good volleyball and we were executing the game plan really well. So I think we were doing a good job getting the game handled. So I think this is part of the reason why, but it was good. I think it was a good game for us to show that we can play strong start to finish. And we did that. And so I'm proud of that for that Florida State match.
Yeah, it was also the last game before the tournament. So I mean, that was one last chance to adjust, but we had to adjust before the tournament starts.
Did that give you maybe some momentum going into the tournament after the tough loss to Pitt?
For sure.
Yeah, our last game against Florida State, prior to the one we just had, was a 5-setter. So it was good to know that we can put them away in 3, a clean sweep, and just really show like we can execute the game plan when we need to.
All right. Anything? Oh, Jack, go ahead.
Yeah, have y'all gotten a chance to look at any film or scout Wright State at all, or do y'all have anything y'all are going to try to neutralize going into tomorrow?
I mean, we've been scouting them. We scouted them yesterday. I think we all individually also looked at film when we found out who we were going to play, just to have completely different team from what we're used to. They have great ball control. They have a great defensive side of the game. So I think we just have to be patient tomorrow. We just have to know that they're gonna put balls up and just don't lose focus during the rallies and terminate when we need to.
Ken, go ahead.
Julie, have you decided this will be your last season?
Yes, because I want to go play pro next year, so this is going to be my final season at Tech. Yeah.
Okay. How does it so to be here at the end and there's kind of a finite amount of games left? How does that feel for you?
I mean, I try not to think about it because it's sad. It's been great 4 years, a great 4 seasons of this team. So I think I just want to enjoy the moment. I just want to enjoy these last games and just being able to give my all now that it's the final stretch, but I'm sure it's going to be good. And I just want to be able to, give the most and give back to what people have given me with this program.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else for the players? All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Good
Thank
luck.
you.
And we'll have Coach Michelle Collier hopping up next.
Hello, everybody.
What's up, Coach?
Michelle.
How you guys doing?
Good.
How cold is it?
Yes.
How cold is the weather in Milwaukee?
Oh, it's cold. Good thing we don't get outside too much, so
All right.
it hasn't been too bad.
All right. We'll jump straight into questions. You can start off raising the hand function again. And we'll start off with Ken.
Michelle, I was asking the kids on the team this. Does it feel like, and I would think, when you first got here and maybe 2-3 years ago, it was more like you were chasing, aspiring, trying to get to the point where you are. Has this season felt a little different in that regard? I remember at the beginning of the season, you were telling us about how kids across the league wanted to play at your place, wanted to play you guys. Have you felt that maybe more than in past seasons?
Yeah, for sure. I think we were no longer the team that was the underdog or surprising people with our results. We're the team that people were chasing and that, they highlighted in their calendar, and that became a huge win on their calendar if they're able to get us. So I think that changed a little bit. We definitely, I think, learned as a program what it takes to be at this level, what it takes to be in this role of being one of the best teams in the country, and, people being prepared to play you and give you your best every night. But it was exciting. I mean, I think that our team really responded to that, really did well, and so it was just very proud of how they responded to the added pressure, and really pressure is a privilege at our level, and I think that they really done a good job of normalizing it and using that to grow and be better. So
Rod, go ahead. You can go ahead, Rod.
Coach, I know you would rather have a 4 seed than a 5 seed naturally. Do you feel either the Pitt loss or the Miami loss played a role in where you ended up?
It could have. I mean, it would put us a little bit higher in our RPI. But I really felt like the teams from maybe 15 to 25 RPI there was going to be a toss up with the last final hosting spots. Because I feel like you could rationalize it in many other ways. And one of the things was one of the committee's priority was strength of schedule. And we had the best strength of schedule. We had the hardest schedule in November out of all the teams that were kind of on the bubble there to be a host. But they, that wasn't their main criteria to decide those things. So it just really depends on which way you look at it. I think that we're really proud of putting ourselves in the conversation and keeping ourselves as, just a high RPI and one of the top teams in the country, and giving ourselves a chance to be considered at the end of the season there to host. I think that was nice, but obviously the more wins get to RPI higher, so they would have helped, of course.
Marcel, go ahead.
Yes, Coach Allo, thanks for joining us. Wright State, a team that we're not too familiar with, but what about that team? What have you seen from them, and what challenges they present for you tomorrow in the first round of the tournament?
Yeah, no, a team that it's used to winning. I think they won 18 in a row now. I think they haven't lost since the middle of September. So just a team that's going to come really confident, good momentum. They do some really good things. They take care of the ball really well. So they'll be a challenging team to get out of system and to really defend. And just again, a team that's playing with a lot of confidence and excited to the challenge of playing us. So, and playing in a tournament, and they have a new coach. They got a lot of just good momentum going on for them. And, we're getting ready for a great match here.
Jack, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. I'm asked the players this too about what specifically they were working on in the last month or so for the tougher matches, or maybe other things they needed to work on to hone in. Do you have anything in your mind that you think the team's been honing in on more skill set wise to prepare for this final stretch and then going into the tournament? And if so, and on top of that, do y'all think there's another level you'll need to reach to get deep in this tournament?
Yeah, I think we definitely have another level. I think that we continue to grow and get better. I would say we were probably really focusing on this last month. One, just staying healthy, really not trying to drag our practices out too much, really be efficient with how we're using our time, and making sure that our players were fresh and in a good space physically and mentally to endure the pressures of the tournament as well. And we had a really tough schedule, and November was pretty brutal for us with the teams that we played and just the type of matches that we played. But I think that we're I feel like that's a huge thing for us, and we should really be grateful for it, because it really made us play at a very high level for that month, and have to do some really great things. Played probably teams that will, if we get deep in the tournament, that's the type of teams we'll be playing, like a Louisville and a Pitt, and going 5 with those teams and playing at a level that we saw that we can compete and win against those teams. I think all these things were really important. But obviously, I think in the tournament now, we're just trying to do what we did all year. We played good volleyball. We'll really just have to be fresh and have to be focused and being able to take one match at a time, and just understand that, it's a different feel, different pressure. So we'll just have to normalize all that and really go out there and do what we've done all year. So compete.
Rod, go ahead.
Did the addition of, you added another outside hitter through the transfer portal. She became a fixture in the starting lineup. Did that affect how you maybe changed on how you used Bianca in most of your matches?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think that we lost Mari and we had it. Our offense looked a little bit different, right? We didn't have Matt was also somebody that had been in our program for a long time, and so we just had to figure out what works best for this group. And Tam really did a good job filling in on that right side. I felt like it was a spot that was up for grabs there, and I think that she really took advantage. And has been getting better. I really felt like this month she played well. She's playing a little more comfortable out there, and really helped enhance our offense and the things that we're doing. So I think that she's somebody that keeps growing, and I think that Bianca's role didn't vary too much from what she had to do last year. She has been the anchor, I think, of this team. It's kind of the silent killer. Not a lot of people see how much she does, but I mean, she's exceptional back row defensively, serve, receive, serving, blocking, and her offense game, it's growing, it's getting better. I think that she had some really great matches towards the end here. So I think that she continues to play her role at a very high level, probably, in my opinion, one of the best that are doing her position right now with what she has to do as far as passing and defense and being a component to the attacking piece of the game. So I think she's really a tremendous player, and I think that she's a very similar role than she had last year, but she's doing it even better than she was last year.
Kurt, go ahead.
Yeah, when you look at Wright State with a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year in their back row, and all of the other players on that team that seem to keep the ball in the air, does their ability to send the ball back over the net present any particular challenge, or what have you seen from film on them as to how well they keep the ball in the air just in general to frustrate the opponent?
Yeah, no, we understand that. I mean, I think they're at 17 digs per set or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah. So, pretty high. I think our goal again, we serve receive too. It looks like it's hard to crack their serve receive. Like it looks like they're in system a lot. And so we know that we're going to have to be patient. I think that one of our advantages will be that we're a little more physical. So I think that we have to play physical, have to play aggressive, got to really put some pressure on their defense and hopefully challenge them in different angles and speed that maybe they haven't seen as much this year, and really use our physicality there to try to see if we can break situations. But also, we worked a lot in our transition those last couple of days, going back to our defense. They keep balls alive, they transition quick, they play a lot with the middle. So those are all things that we studied, and we try to just emphasize in our training to understand the type of urgency that we're going to have to play with against them, but also be smart and patient, not try to do too much when they send the ball over. So a couple of things that we continue to work even on our team and on our offense, and we know that it's going to happen tomorrow, and hopefully we're responding to it with maturity and at a high level, understanding the challenges.
Mm-hmm.
Marcel, go ahead.
Coach, you mentioned maturity. That was my question, or is my question. You have a veteran group, a lot of fourth and even fifth year players, or players who played multiple years in the program. How important is that for you, being in this NCAA tournament? This is not new territory for you. How beneficial will that veteran experience be coming into tomorrow's matchup?
Yeah, I think important. I think we have learned, from the years and through the season. We're going out to our third NCAA tournament in a row. All these guys were in it from the beginning, and I think that they have an understanding of what it feels like. What is it about? How special it is to be a part of it. And I think all of that will play in. I think that our team understands the urgency of these matches and the urgency of every point. Really, not wasting opportunities. And I think that they're excited. They're excited to play. I think obviously we have the shadow of what we did last year and all that just hanging over our head, but I think that this group has done a really great job. They maximized themselves as a group, and now in the tournament is you just got to go, all in, no fear, and see what happens. It's kind of how we did it last year, and how I kind of hope they approach this opportunity now this year.
Rod, go ahead.
How important was it for your team to play as well as they did in that last match against Florida State after the tough 5-set loss to Pitt? And, I'm sure you were pretty happy that they played well as a unit, that you didn't have to substitute.
Yeah, no, they were playing well. They were executing the game plan. I think that things were working for us. So obviously no need to change what's working. And they just did a good job being consistent and staying at it. And didn't seem like Florida State was trying to do anything much different than what we scouted against them. So for us, it just kind of felt like, we just needed continuity there with doing what we were doing. And it worked well. I felt like it was a match where everybody really stepped up and played well. And this group is resilient. We understand we didn't expect to go undefeated all season. We knew we were going to have some tough challenges along the way, but we also knew that we had to be, next match focused and focusing on the next things and not kind of dwell on the things too much. And I felt like we really gave Pitt our best. It was a really great match, high level volleyball, so I think we walked away from that gym knowing, just feeling good about, how we played. Obviously we want to win. And it takes a night to kind of get over it. But after that, we were, focusing on Florida State and what we had to do next, and played a great match. And then now we're hoping for a good match here against Wright State.
Ken, go ahead.
Thing about not having fear and going all in. And you'd mentioned before about how you're having to learn to play against teams that have targeted you. How do you try to instill that sort of mindset of attacking and not defending?
Yeah, I think we kind of try to create that type of environment in practice, that type of demeanor in practice on a custom basis where we're not going through the motions, or we're inputting some kind of intensity and the way that we move and the way that we want to do things. More often than not, obviously, we all have our good and bad days as we go throughout a season. But really, it has been, 95% of our practices have been like that. So I think that we just got to do what we got to do and compete the way that we do every day, play the game the way that we play, and that makes us better. And you just keep trying to reinforce that, when they're in practice and they're not doing that, you try to point that out so they recognize it, and you go on to the next day and you try to do better. And I think that we have had days like that throughout the season, and I think that they have a good picture and a good feel of what it's like when we're at our best. And I'm sure they'll be ready to put that forward tomorrow. So we'll just try to reinforce the things that we do on a daily basis.
Thank you.
Kurt, go ahead.
Yeah, the Wright State has number 3, a 5'9" outside hitter that leads the team in kills, and I'm sure she's played against taller blocks most of her life. And certainly when you get into P5 schools, the players in general are going to be a little taller, a little more physical. And so what have you seen from their pin hitters as to how they might respond to the bigger, more physical front that you're going to put up against them?
Yeah, no, these guys don't seem to back down from a challenge. I think that again, you don't win that many matches. It doesn't matter what level you're playing if you're not playing aggressive and if you're not really doing things really, really well and consistent. So I think that they will, hopefully our size will be a little bit of a challenge for them, but they were skilled enough to work around it, right? So I think that our defense around our block is going to be huge as well. We talked about tendencies and what they tend to do, and sets are on the net, off the net, high, fast. So we're going to have to respond to those situations and try to make sure we put some pressure on them beyond our block. So our defenders behind our block really have to do a good job understanding the situations and understanding what smaller players may try to do in certain situations. There's not too many outs around it, so we just have to be prepared for it, and hopefully we're executing what we know it's going to happen a lot of times.
Jack, go ahead.
I wanted to ask about how y'all play in the second set in particular, because y'all have only lost 4 of them all year, and it just seems like y'all blow teams out of the water every second set compared to the other sets. Is there something about it that y'all like? Like, do y'all come into shape better in the second, and then the other team gets in the third? I don't know.
I don't know.
About...
You're the one running the stats. I don't know. I have no idea. I wish I knew, because then I would get that and say, let's do that in the first set, and then But no, I think that the second set, you play one set, and that teaches you a lot about what's happening, and what's going on, and where do we need to adjust, who's scoring, and as a staff and as a group, we can make adjustments and we can emphasize certain things. We can change matchups. So maybe those are kind of a little bit of small changes here and there that maybe we were able to adjust better once we saw what was happening and what the other team's game plan was against us. And that has helped us execute better on that second set, but I think that that's maybe the only thing I can think of that could make a big impact, is just our staff and we just understanding the game and saying, hey, here are some of the things that help us execute. And then, it's kind of that cat and mouse. Teams change, you go chase, and then they chase and you chase, and you just kind of keep doing that. But it looks like we've gotten the upper hand most of the time in the second sets. I had no idea about that stat, so yeah. There we go.
All right. Anything else?
How's Brazil looking in the World Cup so far, Coach? I know you've been following.
Hey, we made it to the second round, but Bianca was a little excited here today because Argentina finally made it out of the group stage, which is a bummer. But we're keeping track of it. We're being good sports about it. Yeah, it's fun. So Brazil gets to play Friday, so hopefully we'll still be here, and I'll get to watch it from here from my computer.
All right, like it. Thank you.
Bye. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
All right.
Good
Bye.
luck.
Thank you.